Okay, so maybe you're thinking about finally reading The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, it's one of those books everyone says you have to read.
Right, but you're not quite sure if it's worth adding to that ever-growing to-read pile, right?
I get it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to break it down for you today in this deep dive.
That's right.
We'll cover the good, the bad, and maybe even a little ugly.
All the juicy stuff.
Exactly. We want to help you decide if this classic deserves a spot on your nightstand.
Absolutely.
To help us do that, we've got a whole stack of Goodreads reviews to dig into.
Oh, and some pretty insightful literary analysis, too.
Perfect. Oh, and of course, we'll take a peek into the life of the man himself, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you can't really talk about Gatsby without talking about Fitzgerald.
Exactly. But let's be upfront right from the start. The Great Gatsby is considered a classic for a reason, but it's definitely not universally adored. So
buckle up.
I love a good controversial book. Can you give me, like, the story in a nutshell? Remind me why this book is so legendary in the first place.
Okay, so picture this. The Roaring Twenties, jazz music, flapper dresses.
Oh, I'm already intrigued.
Right. And at the center of it all is Jay Gatsby. He's this enigmatic millionaire.
Mysterious, right?
Totally. And he throws these incredibly lavish parties. We're talking over-the-top Gatsby style.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
But there's a reason behind all this extravagance. He's actually trying to win back his lost love, Daisy Buchanan.
Oh, love story. Okay, that does sound kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, like, why is it considered CCH a big deal in, the literary world?
Right.
Is it really more than just a fancy love story set in the jazz age?
It's so much more. Like, Fitzgerald throws this seemingly simple love story at you, but then he starts weaving in all these really deep themes, right?
Like what?
Well, you've got illusion versus reality.
Okay.
You've got the whole idea of the elusive American dream, the allure and the danger of wealth and status.
Right. So it's like he's using this love story to kind of give us a peek behind the curtain of the Roaring Twenties, huh? All that, like the sparkle and the excitement, but also the cracks underneath.
Precisely. In fact, one Goodreads reviewer I came across made this brilliant comparison.
Oh, tell me.
They said Gatsby is like, imagine like a modern-day reality TV star.
Oh, wow.
Totally obsessed with curating this perfect image, throwing these extravagant parties that are almost like staged performances.
You can almost picture him with a carefully crafted Instagram feed, right?
Exactly. But just like those, those influencers we see today, underneath that facade, there's this deep well of insecurity and longing.
Oh, that's such a good point. I never thought about it that way, but it totally makes sense. It's like even back then people were like grappling with this idea of portraying a certain image versus who they really are inside.
Absolutely.
But speaking of image, some reviewers I saw mentioned the characters being a bit, well, unlikable.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So, like, if you don't even like the people in the story, is it really even worth reading?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
I mean, they are definitely flawed.
Yeah.
Complex characters. Daisy, Tom, even Gatsby himself, they make choices that can be frustrating.
Right.
Even a little, off-putting for some readers.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's what makes them so fascinating. Fitzgerald's not trying to create these, like, perfect heroes and heroines.
Yeah.
He's showing us the messy, sometimes ugly reality of human ambition and desire and the moral compromises people make in pursuit of their dreams.
So he's not shying away from getting a little dark.
Not at all.
A little real with these characters.
That's right. He's holding up a mirror to human nature, warts and all.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's not always about reading a book where you're, like, rooting for the good guys the whole time, is it?
Right.
It's about trying to understand even the flawed characters.
Definitely.
So we talked about the characters. What about the writing itself? So many Goodreads reviews rave about Fitzgerald's style. Can you give us an example of what makes his writing so captivating?
Oh, absolutely. His prose is stunning. It's full of these incredibly evocative images and symbolism. For instance, there's this one line, "And as the moon rose higher, the inessential houses began to melt away until gradually I became aware of the old island here that flowered once for Dutch sailors' eyes, a fresh green breast of the new world."
Wow, that's beautiful.
Right.
It's almost poetic.
And it really gets at that feeling of longing, of time passing, of the fleeting nature of beauty and dreams, which, that runs through the whole novel.
Yeah.
You feel like you're right there with Gatsby, experiencing his yearning for something more.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why this book has resonated with people for so long.
Yeah.
We've got these flawed characters,
Right.
beautiful writing,
Mm-hmm.
and these really deep, thought-provoking themes. It really does seem like it's more than just a, glitzy Roaring Twenties story.
Oh, for sure.
And you can't really talk about The Great Gatsby without talking about the man himself, F. Scott Fitzgerald, right?
Absolutely not.
I mean, he lived a pretty interesting life, almost as dramatic and glamorous as the characters he created.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And his relationship with Zelda Sayre, their extravagant lifestyle, their struggles, it all seems to kind of feed into the themes of the book.
In a really powerful way, yeah.
It's like he was really living that high life, just like Gatsby.
In a way, yeah. Fitzgerald was right there in the thick of it, rubbing shoulders with the wealthy elite.
So he wasn't just like observing this world from afar, he was actually living it.
Exactly. He experienced that world firsthand. He was captivated by it, obviously, but he was also really critical of it. He saw the allure, the excitement, sure, but also the emptiness, the shallowness, and I think you could even say the moral decay that was kind of lurking beneath the surface.
It's interesting because it sounds like he had this like love-hate relationship with wealth and glamour, right?
Totally. And that tension, that duality, it comes through so strongly in The Great Gatsby. I think that's one of the things that makes it such a powerful book.
Okay, you've got me like seriously wanting to go to a 1920s party right now.
Yeah.
But also like with a touch of existential dread.
Uh-huh. That's the magic of Fitzgerald. He can totally transport you to this bygone era, make you feel all the glamour, but also leave you contemplating like the deeper questions about life, love, and happiness. Okay, so let's get down to it.
Yeah.
Should someone actually read The Great Gatsby? Is it really worth all the hype?
That's the big question.
Honestly, it's not a light and breezy read. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, so it's not exactly beach reading.
Definitely not. It's a book that challenges you, makes you think. It might even leave you a little heartbroken.
Ooh, intriguing.
But I think that's also what makes it so rewarding. If you're looking for a beautifully written, thought-provoking novel that really captures a specific moment in American history, the Jazz Age, with all its like exuberance and anxiety, then absolutely give The Great Gatsby a try. I think it's worth it.
Okay, that sounds pretty compelling.
Yeah.
But for those of us who are maybe still on the fence, like what are the key things we should be considering?
First, remember, this is a story about longing. It's about chasing a dream that may ultimately be unattainable. It's about the allure and the disillusionment of the American dream.
Right, right.
And it's definitely a sharp critique of wealth and class. It shows the carelessness of the privileged few.
Okay, that's definitely something that's still relevant today. But it's also a glimpse into this like really fascinating period in American history, right? The Roaring Twenties, full of glamour, excess, and this weird sense of both possibility and impending doom.
Totally. It's like you can feel that tension in the air as you're reading it. And let's not forget, it's so beautifully written. The way Fitzgerald uses language is just incredible, almost poetic at times.
Yeah, I've heard people say that his prose is just stunning.
It really is. It's a book you can savor, a book you can revisit and find like new layers of meaning each time you read it.
So for our listener out there who's still on the fence,
Yeah.
here's a thought. Imagine yourself at one of Gatsby's legendary parties. The music is intoxicating, the champagne is flowing, everyone seems deliriously happy. But underneath the surface, there's this, like, nagging unease, a sense that something isn't quite right. That's the feeling that you're left with after reading The Great Gatsby. It's this lingering sense of both beauty and melancholy, of dreams both realized and shattered. Is that a journey you're ready to take?
That's a great question to ask yourself. Yeah, it's a really good question. It really makes you think. I mean, even if you don't end up loving The Great Gatsby, it's a book that stays with you.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a book that starts conversations, too.
Yeah.
Because people debating the characters, the themes, Fitzgerald's message. And that's a real testament to its power, right? Its ability to provoke and challenge readers, even like almost a century after it was written.
Right. I mean, how many books can you say that about?
Exactly. So what do you think? Is The Great Gatsby going on your must-read list? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know what you think. And hey, if you're looking for something similar, but maybe like with a slightly different flavor,
Okay.
I'd recommend Tender is the Night. It's also by Fitzgerald, which, you know,
Oh, yeah. Of course.
it explores similar themes of love and loss and the American dream. but it has a more, like, European setting.
Ooh, European setting. Okay.
Yeah, it takes place on the French Riviera.
Fancy.
Or, if you're really intrigued by that social commentary aspect,
Mm-hmm.
The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton is fantastic. It gives you this, like, fascinating glimpse into, like, Gilded Age New York society.
Ooh, Gilded Age. Okay.
It's really beautifully written
Mm.
and utterly heartbreaking.
I love a good heartbreaking book.
Me too.
Okay, so we've got Tender's the Night by Fitzgerald and The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton and others.
Yeah, if you want a dose of, like, disillusionment with a distinctly masculine edge,
Ooh, masculine edge.
check out The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one.
It follows a group of American and British expats in the aftermath of World War I as they kind of search for meaning and solace in a world that's, like, lost its innocence.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah. It's a classic, though.
Wow, it sounds like we have given our listener a lot to chew on today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into The Great Gatsby.
It's been fun.
We hope you found it illuminating and, maybe even inspired you to pick up a copy and form your own opinions. Happy reading, everyone.